Hey everyone, welcome to yet another episode of Hockey on the Spot with Brandon Marenfeld. I'm Brandon Marenfeld. Thank you for joining me. This is episode 88 of Hockey on the Spot. 5 games last night, not that many updates, so let's get through it. Starting with the Toronto Maple Leafs, who have recalled defenseman John Michael Liles from the American Hockey League. Toronto Marlies, as they want to have 7 defensemen for their road trip coming up. He's a guy who the Leafs have been trying to trade for a bit now, so we'll see if they can maybe get a trade in at some point. Vancouver Canucks forward Jordan Schrader will miss 9 weeks due to a broken ankle that will require surgery. Schrader fractured the same foot in the preseason. So hopefully he can come back very soon, because this is a guy who they have a lot of high hopes for to be a top 6 forward. Matt Moulson made a comment last night about being traded to the Buffalo Sabres from the New York Islanders, and this is what he had to say. Caution, this may make you shed a tear. It's sad to leave people that you care about and love behind, Matt Moulson told ESPNNewYork.com when reached by phone Sunday night. I think over the years I've shown my want to be a part of the organization and turning around the team into being successful. I guess, obviously, in the long run, they didn't feel the same. So, there you go. Moulson very upset to leave the Islanders, and I honestly would be too if I had made so many friends with that organization. But now he begins to chart a new life as a Buffalo Sabre. So hopefully that'll work out for him, and good luck to Matt Moulson, and good luck to Thomas Vanek as well with the New York Islanders. The Columbus Blue Jackets have placed Cody Bass on waivers. So he could be a kind of a depth player for a team who wants to pick him up. Defenseman Douglas Murray and forward Louis LeBlanc made their Montreal Canadiens debut last night, and they have sent down defenseman Nathan Beaulieu and defenseman Jared Tenorti to the Hamilton Bulldogs to make room for Murray, who suffered an upper body injury in the preseason. Meanwhile, LeBlanc, who was selected 18th overall in 2009 in the 2009 NHL entry draft, will add to Montreal's young forward core. That's exactly what they did last night, and we'll talk more about that. Pittsburgh Penguins defenseman Rob Scuderi will miss 4+ weeks with a lower body injury. That is a big loss for their blue line. Hopefully he can come back healthy soon. Boston Bruins forward Louis Eriksson will miss at least another week as he recovers from a concussion. Hopefully he can get back real soon. Yesterday we got to get a good first look at Thomas Vanek in his new Islanders jersey, and this is what he had to say on the Sabres. We traded pretty much every veteran. The message was clear that they're going for draft picks. I enjoyed my time there, but I didn't want to be a part of that. So that's what Thomas Vanek had to say about the trade. The Vancouver Canucks had Alex Burrows back in the lineup last night against the Washington Capitals, as he missed 12 games due to a foot fracture, and he's a valuable player to their roster. They'll be real happy to have him back. They are really happy to have him back. Los Angeles Kings forward Kyle Clifford has been fined a maximum of $2,756.41 for his knee-on-knee hit on Edmonton Oilers forward Ryan Nugent-Hopkins. Hopefully Nugent-Hopkins isn't injured. The Winnipeg Jets will be without defenseman Paul Postma after discovering a blood clot on his calf that will keep him out indefinitely. Blood clots, not a good thing to have. We saw it with Thomas Vokoun over the offseason. Hopefully he can get back very soon. The Phoenix Coyotes forward Martin Hanzal gets a two-game suspension for charging Edmonton Oilers defenseman Jeff Petrie. So that's a tough loss for Phoenix for 2 games. They'll have to be without their best power forward. And one of the bigger updates of the day, former New Jersey Devils forward Ilya Kovalchuk, who is now the SKA captain, and CSKA captain Alexei Morozov took part in the Sochi 2014 Olympic torch relay yesterday to the KHL game in St. Petersburg, or today. This happened today, that's a good sign that the Olympics are in Russia, folks, the Winter Olympics, and definitely looking forward to that. A lot of people looking forward to hockey. And that is all your updates for today. Now let us get to the games. 5 games last night. Starting with the Dallas Stars and the Buffalo Sabres. One of the more important games of the night, Lindy Ruff returning to the place that he spent the majority of his coaching career. Buffalo was a big place for him, was a big stepping stone in his coaching career, and this is a place where he absolutely did not want to leave. He got a huge standing ovation from the fans, and it was very inspiring and lucky for Lindy Ruff, and the setting was pretty much perfect. The former coach of the Sabres comes in and beats his former team by a final score of 4-3. Meanwhile, on the other side, Steve Ott playing against his former team, the Buffalo Sabres, the Dallas Stars for the first time. By the way, with Thomas Vanek gone, Steve Ott now officially the captain, the full-time captain of the Buffalo Sabres. And, of course, the other big story, Matt Moulson making his debut in a Buffalo Sabres uniform and uses it pretty well. So let's go into it. The Dallas Stars, again, coming up with the win by a final score of 4-3. Dallas goals being scored by Vernon Fiddler, his first of the year, assisted by Lane McDermott and Antoine Roussel. Then after that, Alex Goligoski, at long last, getting his first goal/point of the year on the power play, assisted by Valeri Nichushkin and Jamie Benn. Jordy Benn, actually. Assisted by Jordy Benn, the older brother of the older of the Benn brothers. So Alex Goligoski from Valeri Nichushkin and Jordy Benn, his second assist of the season. Then Tyler Seguin gets up on the board, assisted by Eric Cole. And then the captain, Jamie Benn, gets the game-winning goal in the second period, assisted by Tyler Seguin and Eric Cole. So congratulations there. Brendan Dillon led the game with 7 minutes in penalties. And for Kari Lehtinen, he, of course, got the start and goal and was good. 22 saves on 25 shots and 880 save percentage. So good, not great. So congrats to the Dallas Stars on that note. For the Buffalo Sabres, again, Matt Moulson making his Buffalo Sabres debut, and he used it well because he scores 2 goals in the game and becomes the game's first star. He would end up scoring the first Buffalo goal to tie the game at 1, assisted by Tyler Ennis and Cody Hodgson. So Moulson's first as a Sabre, 7th of the year overall. He had 6 with the New York Islanders. Then after that, the former Dallas Star, Steve Ott, would get his second of the year on the power play, assisted by Mikhail Grigorenko and Tyler Myers. And for Mikhail Grigorenko, that would be his first point of the season at long last. He has yet to break out and become the player everyone thinks he's going to be. And then after that, Matt Moulson would get his second of the game, assisted by Christian Ehrhoff and Tyler Ennis. Tyler Ennis with 2 assists in the game, his first 2 assists of the season. Ryan Miller got the starting goal, making 25 saves on 29 shots and 862 save percentage, an average performance at best. So, congratulations to the Dallas Stars, and congratulations to head coach Lindy Ruff on beating his former team. Next, we have the Pittsburgh Penguins and the Carolina Hurricanes in Carolina. Big win for the Pens by a final score of 3-1. For the Pittsburgh Penguins, their goals being scored by Tanner Glass, assisted by Jason Megna and Brooks Orpik. For Jason Megna, his first NHL point. Congratulations to him. It comes on in the form of an assist. And then after Carolina tied the game, Chris Kunitz would get up on the board. He scored the eventual game winner, assisted by Sidney Crosby and Brooks Orpik. And then after that, the goal to put the game away pretty much, Jason Megna, after getting his first NHL assist, gets his first NHL goal, assisted by Sidney Crosby and Brooks Orpik. The undrafted center out of Fort Lauderdale, Florida, 23 years of age. He becomes the first star of the game, a goal and an assist, 4 shots on goal. Sidney Crosby, 2 assists, 1 shot, second star. One guy, though, who was not a star but probably should have been is defenseman Brooks Orpik, who's obviously known as a defensive defenseman, had an offensive night to remember with 3 assists and a +3 performance. So, great night for Brooks Orpik as well, even though he wasn't a star. And a solid night for Marc-Andre Fleury in goal. He made 20 saves on 21 shots. Joe Vitale and Brett Sutter leading the game with 7 penalty minutes apiece. And Chris Kunitz leading all players on the ice with 6 shots on goal. Craig Adams and Tim Gleason leading all players on the ice with 6 hits. For the Carolina Hurricanes, their only goal being scored by Nathan Gerbe on the power play, assisted by Elias Lindholm and Alexander Semin. Semin was the 3rd star of the game. For Elias Lindholm, his first NHL assist. Nathan Gerbe led the all Hurricanes with 5 shots on goal. Justin Peters obviously getting the start with the 2 goaltenders out. 26 saves on 29 shots and .897 save percentage. This Hurricanes team is a mess without their 2 goaltenders. So congratulations to the Pittsburgh Penguins on a huge win. Next we have the Montreal Canadiens and the New York Rangers. Never thought I'd have to say the New York Rangers second. Yes, folks, the New York Rangers finally returning home. They finally play a home game this year. The final team to play a home game. Their first home game of the year at Madison Square Garden after a 9-game road trip to start the season, 15 games if you want to count the preseason, 16 games if you want to count Game 5 versus the Boston Bruins in the playoffs last year. So, and then of course that whole summer as well. So they've been away from the Garden for a very long time. So the New York Rangers glad to be home at last. Unfortunately, though, they did not get the results they wanted. They got shut out at home in their first game at home by a final score of 2-0. 3rd straight time in which they've gotten shut out by the Montreal Canadiens. Last goal was actually at home. Anton Strawman scored the last goal against the Montreal Canadiens. The Habs team, just a house of horrors for the New York Rangers. And it wasn't like the Rangers played bad. They actually played a real good game, but Peter Budaj was the star. He would get the start in net, and we'll get more into that in a second. Again, though, Louis LeBlanc and Douglas Murray making their season debuts. Patrick Holland in the lineup as well. So they were riding a lot of youngsters. No Travis Mullen in the lineup. And for the Montreal Canadiens, the game-winning goal, quote-unquote, would be scored by Thomas Plekanec on the power play, a beautiful backhander, assisted by Michael Bournival and Brian Gionta. And then in the 3rd period, with very little time left, Alex Galchenyuk gets his 2nd of the year, assisted by Lars Eller and Brendan Gallagher. However, that goal that was scored by Brendan Gallagher went under review and was clearly a distinct kicking motion. The refs call it a goal anyway. Hey, another reason why the Rangers lost. Some of the worst officiating I personally have ever seen. Almost as bad as that Anaheim-Toronto game from a few nights ago, from about a week ago. So, and it really sucks when you have officiating as bad as that. Peter Budaj was the star of the game, though. 27 save shutout for him. He got the start over Carey Price. He was unbelievable, and the Habs definitely happy he had the kind of performance he had. Brian Gionta led the game with 6 minutes in penalties, by the way. The captain not really being a good captain in that game despite the win. For the New York Rangers, Henrik Lundqvist back in goal after missing 2 games. He's back healthy, and he was good. He didn't either goal was bad that he let up. He could not have stopped Thomas Plekanec's goal, and Galchenyuk's goal obviously shouldn't have even been a goal. But Lundqvist also faced 27 shots. He made 25 saves, a .926 save percentage. So, congrats, I guess, to the Montreal Canadiens, despite the fact that the game was actually really poorly called. Rangers play again today against the New York Islanders, where Thomas Vanek will make his New York Islanders debut, and Carl Hagelin will most likely be returning to the lineup. Jesper Fast has been sent back down to the Hartford Wolfpack. Jesper Fast has been sent to the Hartford Wolfpack of the American Hockey League, which is a sign that Carl Hagelin will play in tonight's game. So congrats to the Montreal Canadiens. Next, the Chicago Blackhawks and the Minnesota Wild. I believe the second of a back-to-back of a home-and-home between the two. Wild winning the last meeting in Chicago. This one in Minnesota. This time it's the Hawks' turn to take a win. They win by a final score of 5-1 in Minnesota. For the Chicago Blackhawks, their goals coming from Patrick Sharp, assisted by Marian Hossa and Johnny Oduya, his first assist of the season and second point of the year. After that, Minnesota would tie the game at 1, but after that it was all Chicago. Sheldon Brookbank getting his first of the year, second in a Blackhawks sweater. That would be the game-winning goal, assisted by Patrick Kane and Brandon Peary. Then Nick Leddy would get himself a power play goal assisted by Sheldon Brookbank, his first of the year. Then Patrick Kane would get up on the board, assisted by Brandon Saad and Brandon Peary. And then Brandon Saad gets up on the board, assisted by Duncan Keith and Jonathan Taves. So great performances all around for numerous players. Brandon Saad with a multi-point performance, a goal and an assist. Brandon Peary, 2 assists. Patrick Kane, a goal and an assist. I'm sorry. By the way, that power play goal by Nick Leddy, it was not Sheldon Brookbank that got the assist. It was Brent Seabrook who got the assist. My apologies. Sheldon Brookbank would also get 10 minutes in penalties, getting a 10-minute misconduct penalty. He led the Blackhawks in that respect. Nate Prozier would lead the Wild and the game overall with 12 minutes in penalties. Corey Crawford got the start in net and was absolutely brilliant. 29 saves on 30 shots and .967 save percentage. Congratulations to him. For the Minnesota Wild, their only goal of the game being scored by Jason Pominville, assisted by Michael Granlund and Clayton Stoner. That was the goal that tied the game at 1. Nicholas Backstrom getting the start. Not a good night for him. 23 saves on 28 shots and .821 save percentage. A night to forget for Nicholas Backstrom. Congratulations to the Chicago Blackhawks. And last but not least, we have the Washington Capitals and the Vancouver Canucks in Vancouver. The last time the Washington Capitals beat the Vancouver Canucks was on February 14th of 2001, and it was Washington Capitals head coach Adam Oates who would score the eventual game-winning goal in overtime on Dan Cloutier. They have not beaten the Canucks since, and they would not beat the Canucks last night. 3-2 victory in favor of John Tortorella and the Vancouver Canucks. Vancouver goals being scored. Vancouver Canucks, they get Alex Burrows back in the lineup. Happy to have him back. Even though he didn't score a point, Really effective. He's always a tough player to play against. But for the Vancouver Canucks, their goals coming from Zach Kassian, assisted by Chris Higgins and Kevin Bieksa. Then, after Washington looked in good shape, taking a 2-1 lead, it was all Vancouver. Ryan Kessler tied the game at 2, assisted by Daniel Sedin and Ryan Stanton. And then Daniel Sedin would get the game-winning goal, assisted by his brother Henrik Sedin and Chris Tanev. Roberto Luongo got the starting goal and didn't face much. 17 saves on 19 shots and .895 save percentage. Ryan Kessler led the game with 6 shots on goal. The only guy to get 5 or more shots on goal in the game. For the Washington Capitals, they were even lucky to get 2 goals. Their goals coming from Jason Chimera, assisted by Mike Green and Nate Schmidt. And then after that, Mikhail Grabovski would get his 5th of the year, assisted by Jason Chimera and Joel Ward. Alex Ovechkin held to just 3 shots in the game. He and Mike Green led the team with 3. Michael Neuvirth got the starting goal, and despite the loss, was actually brilliant. 38 saves on 41 shots, a .927 save percentage. He definitely was the reason why the score wasn't even worse. So a good performance by Michael Neuvirth, but not good enough to get the win. Congrats to the Vancouver Canucks. Do not worry, the Caps. You guys will beat the Vancouver Canucks eventually. And last but not least, we're now at that time again, folks. This is This Day in Hockey History from October 29th. In 1970, Gordie Howe of the Detroit Red Wings became the first player in the NHL to obtain 1,000 career assists. The current record is held by Wayne Gretzky. He recorded 1,963 assists, or 2,223 assists, including the playoffs, in his career. A great milestone. Gordie Howe, obviously one of the greatest players the game ever had to offer. And that will do it, folks. All right. Thank you guys for joining me for episode 88 of Hockey on the Spot. That'll do it for episode 88 of Hockey on the Spot. This has been Hockey on the Spot with Brandon Barenfeld. I'm Brandon Barenfeld. I will see you guys again tomorrow. Thank you and have a great day.